Hello and welcome back to the OPL. I am Spawn. That? No, that is Rusty. And Rusty, Direwolves picking up a needed win there to break themselves away from that soup in the middle of the OPL table and doing it through their mid-jungle duo as per usual.
Yeah, definitely a much-needed win for them. And I mentioned this a couple times in the game as well, Spawn, but it does feel like the consistency of Shock is definitely something that you want to start playing around while his form is as good as it currently is. And Mir having one of his classy games, right? Not something that you'll get every day from Mir. He has been notoriously inconsistent, but played around mid, made it work.
And of course, we are missing Nick, so I thought Rusty would just take a little bit more of a deep dive into that game until our host with the most does come back. And I was wondering whether you noticed the same thing. And I've had this debate for a very long time about should the OPL be taking inspiration from the LCK or from the Chinese LPL. And it looks like right now that Direwolves are just very firmly in the LPL camp. We're getting Lee Sin out of them. We're getting Ashe out of them. Tahm Kench, something that's been played in the LPL very aggressively for years now. Did you take some LPL flavor away from how they played that game?
I feel like, and I have worked with these guys a little bit, right? Like, they basically are LPL-style players that are trying to LCK a lot. And there was even moments in that game where, like, just knowing them that they tried to slow down, right? They really did try to slow themselves down because they are just such forward aggressive type of players. Even Vital, I feel like he's been such a good addition to the team because he just throws the arrows. Like, even if it's not the perfect time for it, he's just going to throw them. And credit to him, they were hitting, even if it wasn't the correct moment. I think that, like, once they started to really find the balance, like, of LPL, LCK, let's say, as the examples, that did work out the best for them, but they are for sure an LPL flavor team.
Yeah, and we are going to bring Nick Boy back into the fold. And before we get into kind of the next segment, Rusty, I do want to hit on PGG just a little bit because this is a team that does seem to have fallen a little bit off the tracks now. You know, they came out swinging. They've beaten the Chiefs twice, but now 6-5 on the ladder. They were equal second. Now it looks like they're going to potentially drop to fifth after today's games. That's a big slide.
Yeah, it does feel like the consistency of PGG comes in waves, right? They're not like an order win one, lose one type team. They lose like 3 in a row, then they won 4 in a row. Now they're on a losing streak again. And it does feel like their form just shifts so wildly for such consistent amounts of time. They really do need to work out what's going on there because there were so many good things through those patches of victories.
Because how many have they lost in a row now? 1, 2... They've lost 2 in a row. Okay, so it's only a 2-game skid, so it's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought they were already up to 3, but certainly an important game tomorrow as they do take on Legacy. Nick, how's your VMix going, mate? You back with us? You back amongst
good.
the living?
There was a terrifying moment where just like my camera stopped, and so then USB port started my computer. I unplugged things. It was just a disaster. But we're back and everything's fine. So, technology. All right, before we jump into the next seg, a quick reminder about the 2 competitions we've got running. Our sponsors love us, but more importantly, our sponsors love you. They love you guys, and they want to give you stuff. EPOS want to give you a couple of gaming headsets. All you need to do is tell us about your most standout, memorable, out-of-this-world gaming experience. There is a post on the @OPL Twitter page. Just reply to that with the best story you have about your favorite gaming moment in your life, and then we will pick the 2 best stories in a couple of weeks' time, share them on the show, and those winners will get the GSP 600 gaming headset from EPOS, which is a very fantastic headset, a very great price for you guys, and a very easy entry condition. You send a tweet, you send like 30 bad tweets a day. Make one of those tweets to us, and you can get a headset. And then, obviously, NeoSurf, you know them, you love them, they love you. They want to give you $500 worth of NeoSurf voucher credit to use on the League of Legends store. All you need to do is join our opening titles phone call. So you need to record a little video, DM to us @OPL on Twitter, follow @NeoSurf Esports on Twitter, and we will pick the best ones in a couple of weeks' time. The winner of that gets $500 to use on the League of Legends store. The 5 runners-up get $100 each, which is a ton of skins. And you get to be a part of the show. We'll put you in the opening titles. We'll replace all the terrible ones. You will live forever. If it is my last dying action on this earth, I will make sure that you are doubting.
Apparently Kent's too. That's all I'm saying.
Apparently Kent as well. There's no love lost between you two. So please enter those competitions because our sponsors, they are big fans of you guys. All right, we are big fans of League of Legends. We want to find out the greatest League of Legends champion of all time. This is the LCK.
Didn't I fight you yesterday? Or was that a different puny thing?
With your power level, I suggest you forfeit instead.
Alrighty, the LCK is the final major region we needed to tick off with copyright infringement.
I was going to say that's all of them, right? Now we're
Yeah.
into the minor regions after this.
Yeah. We're into the trash like the OPL. This was actually suggested by Davo Erlo somewhat. I know, just the real icing on the cake there for Spawn. And so what this is a knockout competition where each week we are going to rate and rank the champions from each region. At the end of the split, we will have a definitive greatest champion of all time. So the way that we've broken this down, this is the Demacia edition. So I have the Demacia champs. I'm just going to say 2 champs. You guys need to pitch to me very quickly which one you think is the best champion. There are no parameters that you need to adhere to. It can be gameplay, it can be skins, it can be lore, it can be just the vibe, Marbo, it can be whatever you want. And then I will decide which one pitched to me the strongest. That is the winner. We go down the list. All right, are you ready?
Yes. I don't understand this game at all, but go.
We just found out about this.
You're literally just picking your favorite league champ out of this. Jarvan versus Galio. Go. Rusty.
Jarvan wins, surely.
Sorry, Rusty, what was that?
I think I would pick Galio because he's not as loud and annoying.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so he's not the skimmy of the League of Legends champ pool. Spawn?
Those dazzling blue eyes, baby. You look at Jarvan, your heart melts. He's got that chiseled jaw, he's got those dazzling blue eyes, and he's in line to be the king. Jarvan is like, he's that in a bit.
I gotta tell you what, there's some good pitches here, but looks aren't everything, Spawn, and I'm a little.
But he's a king as well.
That's where you went, and it doesn't matter how sexy you are. If you need to hang out with someone that's sexy and annoying is always gonna end up trumping. So Galio wins. Well done, Rusty.
Bring Skimmy back.
The fact that Nick judges this means that we really need to think about what we're saying.
Yeah, all of a sudden. I actually feel like Jarvan is the best Demacia champion, and he's been eliminated round 1. So this segment already sucks.
Not even round 1, like choice 1 of round 1.
Yes.
Okay. Silas versus Xin Zhao. Rusty.
I reckon Silas. I think maybe it's just because he, like, story-wise, has a more interesting story to me than a lot of other Demacians.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the kind of guy that's traveled everywhere because he's just not been very well liked, to my knowledge. But I also, you know what? The same logic. All of the Demacians are loud and annoying, and Silas isn't. So here's my vote.
Okay. I like Xin Zhao more because when I was a kid, I one time took the mop head off a mop and was spinning the stick around, and I smashed a light and then showered myself in hot light fragments. And whenever I do the Xin Zhao dance, that's what it reminds me of. And it makes me kind of giggle in my own head. So I'm going to go with Xin Zhao.
You had me at hot light fragments. Congratulations, Xin Zhao. You win round 2. Now, you don't always need to take opposing sides. It's fine if you agree. It makes it easier.
No, I'm a Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is actually one of my most played champions in League of Legends. He'd
I'm
be my next
avoiding
tattoo.
champions that Spawn plays because he's actually very heavily in the Demacia court.
I am
with
and
champions.
only a Demacia player. That is me. And if you take Garen, I swear on everything in this world, I will find you and destroy
Depends who
you.
Garen is against.
Garen is up next, and Garen is against Vayne.
Ooh.
Garen or Vayne?
Basically, you're choosing, am I just like a hothead in top lane, or am I an edgy bot laner? It's the choice between... These are polar opposites, man.
They are.
Garen fulfills the stereotypical boyhood fantasy of having a huge sword and spinning in circles. Jasper's favorite thing to do is spin in circles until he gets too dizzy to stand up. And Garen just does it with a sword, Nick. There is no way that you can vote against Garen.
I mean, wait till Garen discovers tumbling. Or Jasper discovers tumbling. There's the future. Sports.
Spinning in circles is the best. The Gravitron, best ride. Garen, the best champion. I was hoping I could find a third thing that spun in circles, but I cannot.
Beyblade's best anime?
Yeah, Beyblade's best anime.
Rusty, are you Garen standing, or are you in Vayne's camp?
I'm definitely more. If I'm picking between these two, I'd be picking Garrett for sure.
Oh, that is very exciting. Our first agreement here in the LCK, and it's about time. All right, congratulations, Garen. You win. And the real winners are us, because we're going to go through every champion over the rest of the
This is
over the
such
rest of
a
the
long
split.
segment.
So we'll return to this in the second segment today, and ultimately we're going to find the greatest League of Legends champion of all time, as crowned by the OPL. This is a historic thing.
This is going to be like 6 weeks of Nick finding his favorite champions from a
Basically.
conversation of opinions.
Oh no! It is purely my favorite pitches from you guys. I cannot for Xin Zhao. I would have taken Silas, but I was convinced by whatever Spawn's stupid story about Glass was. So that's where I got that. All right, it is time for game number 3. We'll come back to this and chat. Don't you think that I'm not watching you right now, the salty Jesus, the low quality content I'm looking for? It is time for game number 3. It is AV versus Gravitas. We have seen a big surprise at the top of today. Can Gravitas pull one out against AV? Let's take a look as we jump into game number 3 and the Macca's Champ Select.
That's right, we're back for game number 3. I'm joined now by Spawn, who's apparently Spawn ready, whatever that means. So we're going to see exactly what happens between these two teams here. Gravitas up against Avant Gaming, both teams that love to get a little bit down and dirty, like to get a little bit rowdy, like to have a bit of a punch on in the early game.
Certainly do, Skimmy. Show me your coffee. Show me your cup.
Look,
your mug.
Can you see? I don't want to like spill it everywhere.
It's just a normal mug. Where's your novelty mug?
Nah,
Skimmy?
you see, I haven't bought one. Actually, I had one of those like meme ones back home of like, you know, live, laugh, love, all that kind of, you know, Instagram hype nonsense. But, you know, I've come here. We've gone back to basics.
You know,
Click
sorry
up.
about coffee before we get into this. When we created Order, there was a little bit of a domestic about the coffee cups. So one of our players' mums just created coffee cups with everyone's face on one cup. So there was like an Ord Rogue, an Ord FBI one.
Yeah.
And it was really easy for like the first week to tell who hadn't done their dishes because it was just the coffee cup with your face on it. But then all of a sudden, a couple of our players started just drinking out of other people's cups.
Oh, no.
So, for example, Spooks would always just grab Swiffer's cup and then talk about how much of an intellectual he was while he was drinking his coffee. Like, oh, I'm Swiffer, I'm an intellectual. And then it went downhill really quickly. And the climax of it all, Skimmy, was when someone broke someone else's face on the floor.
Yeah.
Disaster.
That would, well, that'd be a disaster. Almost as much the craziness of that. Well, hello. We've got a Draven here in the OPL.
We do. That's a good pick as well. Karma Draven. Really oppressive bottom lane. And I've been saying this for a while, Skimmy. I feel like the Aphelios hype train, it's nearly over. It's coming into the final stations. What have we found so far? We found Varus outranges it, so you can pick Varus into it. We found Kalista just outfights it early, so you can pick Kalista into it. Ezreal starting to outrange it. We haven't seen it as much in the OPL, but we have seen a lot of Ezreal played into it. And if Draven can outfight it, that's now 4 AD carries that can take this Aphelios pick to town. I feel like people are still playing into Aphelios' strengths, which is hard engage and allowing him to kite back and things like that. The more of these hit-and-run comps that we see played into Aphelios, I feel like the less priority he will have. And who knows, maybe we'll see something, you know, like Lucian or Ezreal come back into the fold, because safe AD carries have typically dominated the OPL. Like, very rarely does, like, an unsafe champion do well in this region, just because of how much we like to bloody scrap without flashes up.
I almost want to say that Puma is the innovator when it comes to the ADC role, right? He's played Vayne in the bottom lane, he's played Lucian in the bottom lane when it's getting played mid and top. He's now playing the Draven. This is a guy that likes to be crazy. I'm loving this. I'm a big fan. Obviously, one thing to touch on is the Echo Denial that Gravitas has picked up. Praylist loves it, but Chaz, whenever given the opportunity, will definitely want to pick that up for himself.
Yeah, and the thing is I think that this is a situation where, as Syndra is still available, and sorry, I was just checking the bans really quickly, you don't want to give over 3-piece Syndra and then double bans. So because Praless can play it in the jungle and probably happy to play it into Graves, what you do is you take it away, then they can't 3-pick the Syndra because you've already got the counter pick. And if they take a mid laner on 4 for Chaz, then you can just counter pick it and send that bad boy into the jungle. Couple of flexes here. Karma's a flex for sure. We've seen Human play it. I never want to see it again, but technically he could. And we've got that Echo flex as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. We saw that one time they went for a double support play to try and empower Puma, and it just wasn't their kind of style. It wasn't what really made them a threat. And we've seen, once again, kind of feels like a bit of a narrative of today, specifically the mid-jungle link-up. If these 2 star plays that I'm a big fan for on Gravitas can really get the ball rolling, we see how different they look. It's very much not representative of where they're at in the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, how did Volibear got all the way down here, Skimmy?
I don't think we've ever seen a Volibear come out that late. Always, first pick, first free rotation at least. I believe it's only Pabrise that's played it so far, and obviously with Lisa going for the Graves, you'd have to imagine that's not going to be flexed anywhere else, but we have seen weird things happen with the Graves upon a time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Volibear top certainly has the pushing power that Graves is looking for early game. No one can really out-push the Volibear. Definitely not an Aatrox at the start of the game. That's going to be more of a scaling matchup, Skimmy.
Yep.
So I like Avant's draft so far, especially top side, a little bit aggressive. I like the bottom side of Gravitas' draft for sure, however. Draven, one of my favourite champions in League of Legends.
Yeah, it's he's too big brain for me. For talking about 400 IQ, 5-head gaming, Draven just I can't do it. I can't do it, and please don't. Please don't.
Okay, it's happened.
Okay.
So we're going to see the infamous Human Karma mid. Maybe it's going to be Karma top, and we'll get an Aatrox mid. That's the dream.
Hey, we've seen it. Pabrise is like, hey, I debuted it. Your time. You show me what you can do. Wait for these to flex around, obviously, the final pick. Now, what would make sense? Well, Orianna is up and available, and Chaz lavishes the opportunity to pick that up whenever given the opportunity, and has had some standout performances on it. It's the second most played next to the Echo, and rounds out this competition quite nicely.
Yeah, and the thing is you're either like Chaz or Claire, and you're a big Orianna player, or you're just not an Orianna player at all. Who else have we got in the OPL that plays Orianna? I feel like Shock plays it a lot. We've seen him play it. I think that's kind of it. Like, we've got maybe 3 of them. And I just think that if you are a good Orianna player, Skimmy, she's a really good champion at the moment. Certainly not one to be slept on. And control mages as a whole can help you scale. They do have fairly good shove throughout like level 6 onwards. Once they get the second blue buff, they can start taking over the lane. And obviously they really do shore up certain parts of the team fight. So I think that Avant Gaming's lineup certainly outscales this game. Gravitas really need an impressive early game to have any shot of winning this one.
And, I mean, obviously we can touch on that point specifically. Draven known for being that insanely strong level 1 champion. I mean, we think about Varus, how oppressive he was for his range advantage, his lethality spikes with the Arcane Comet style of play. But, Draven is much more of the same style in terms of he wants to be aggressive 1 through 5. And then once he hits 6, it continues. But, you give him a bit of AD, he's in your face. He's not poking you from afar. He's literally catching axes and making you catch these hands.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the kind of thing that you want from Draven. You want extended long lane and the ability to run people down, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing to lose a shove every now and again as Draven, because if you do land any form of CC, he'll just keep charging at you as long as he does have that mana available. I think that the difficulty is going to be actually when they get into team fights, how you can actually make this Draven work. Because playing Draven into Orianna doesn't sound like my kind of fun. Unless you can get, Bloodthirst up and running super early, and maybe even a Death Stance, like to make him just this lifesteal tank. But I think it's going to be a difficult game in the mid game for the Draven. But in saying that, actually, I might have been telling a porcupine.
What's that?
I think that Orianna is actually the most played mid lane in O's.
Out of all of our mid-played champions, I'd have to check that one.
13 picks. Next highest is 7. On the old Syndra.
Makes sense. Orianna, Orianna does it all, doesn't she? Essentially a support, a damage dealer, an engager, a wombo combo.
In saying that, the 3 people I said have played it are Claire, Shock, Chaz. They're the only people that have won on it. Chungy's played it twice, lost both games. Human's played it once and lost. So I did get the players that play Orianna correct because the other guys have just lost. So we've been saved, Skivvy. But yeah, Claire's got 4 wins on it. Shock's got 2, and Chaz is 1-1 so far. But I don't think he's died on it.
No,
Is that correct?
I remember that one time he played it and he was like 8-0 or something absurd. And
He got 5-0-5 in a loss.
Yeah, that's the one that hurt.
And 5-0-11 in a win. So he has yet to die on Orianna. So everyone keep your eyes peeled. The first time Chaz dies in this game, I want to see Twitch chat go absolutely wild.
We're going to find out what happens here today, Spawn. Game number 3, as Gravitas go to the Rift to take battle with the likes of Avant. A big game for them if they want to try and nestle their way for a late stab at the playoffs. But Avant Gaming hot on the heels of that top 3. We talked about the mess where Direwolf's Order and Pentanet are locked in at 6 and 4, while Avant are sitting on 4 and 6. So a game win here today would keep that dream alive.
Yeah, and I think finally Direwolves are starting to try and separate themselves, right? They're on 7 wins. They're now equal wins with Chiefs. Obviously, Chiefs still have a game to play. But Pentanet is only 6 wins, you know, and you've got Avant now at 4 wins. So I think that Direwolves are in the upper mess, at least. They have got some form of separation. Avant Gaming really need to win this. I think they've gone 0-2 in the last week. Lisa, however, on the invade here, might run into trailer. Oh no!
Less than ideal. But regardless, Lisa will be quite content with that one as a Graves, looking just to power farm as much as he can. And as you say, yeah, unfortunately Gravitas haven't won a game in their last 5.
Oh, is it 5 and 5?
Yeah, they have not won a game in a fair bit of time. The last game that Avant won was up against Mammoth. They've had a rough showing. Legacy into Pentanet, into Mammoth, then Direwolves and Chiefs. It's been a couple of weeks of doom and gloom for them.
Holy guacamole.
What really separates these two teams, the biggest thing to talk about first of all is the tower discrepancies. Avant more likely to hit that first turret stride first, and we obviously see a lot of that being from weeks 1 and 2 as their performance. The same could be said for the Dragon as well, a little bit more proactive on that front as well. But the most interesting one is that both teams are neck and neck when it comes to first blood, so kind of catering to what we're seeing here with aggressive tendencies.
Yeah, they're definitely 2 aggressive teams. I do like the point of the fast push because that's how Avant got their first 2 wins, I feel.
Yeah.
And they haven't gone back to it since, which is a little bit crazy to me. It's been banned away a couple of times, but I feel like it now is starting to get left open a little bit more. And Avant just aren't all that interested in playing that style. Maybe thought it was something against unpracticed teams, as Human, in big trouble here in the mid lane, is actually going to be forced out nearly.
It certainly is. Took a fair bit of a beating there, and you know, that's Chaz quite content with how things are playing out. But, you know, returning to your point, that is Avant looking to, you know, change things up and go back to these sort of kill lanes as opposed to what was the annoying harassment. But hold that thought for 2 seconds because it's looking like a 2-man collapse. Say hello to Chaz and potentially give him his first death on this champion.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really nice play out of Chaz. You can see he just plays the correct side of the mid lane. Knows that his jungler is on top side, knows that there's no one in those brushes, so just play towards top side of mid, don't do anything else. And as you can see, Paparize is actually frozen top lane, but that's still allowing Lisa to invade because nobody has to be able to break this raise. And I guess that's probably an important player to highlight. The fact that nobody is still playing here in the top lane scheme.
Yeah, we actually had Kwaku debut for Gravitas Academy last night in the OCS. So, you know, one of the benefits of Gravitas having this very big organization, this big roster, I should say, the ability to flex members in and out as they do see fit for what they're looking to try and achieve.
How did he go? Just for curiosity's sake.
It didn't go too bad. It was up against the QT Tigers, up against Night Fuller and Hingubi. So they like to definitely play top side. He got bullied a few times.
Okay. Because I'm very interested to see like whether it was some nerves or something affecting Kwaku because, you know, was one of the more improved players. And therefore, when you do have a improvement like that, you start to put more expectations on yourself. And sometimes that does make players temporarily regress, Skimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So interested to see if a spell in the 2s, as we'll call it in Victoria, does him any favours.
Yeah, he rock and rolled on the Fiora. Pick that we've seen alongside the likes of Ornn and the Poppy. As they go fishing for kills in the bottom lane, that goes to parallel convergence, but because the death sentence does not connect, they're unable to find the first part of their sentence, funnily enough.
Yep, and we actually see the fact that the Draven is losing lane somehow, Skip. It's
Yep.
very interesting.
Quite
And he's
strange.
going to leave a building wave to secure his team Dragon, which is also quite strange, because as a Draven, normally you tell your jungler to bugger off and to allow you to just farm out your wave, but that's going to be okay. They will grab themselves first Dragon. It is going to be that Ocean, which is good for the laning phase. And Paparazzi in trouble.
He is indeed, but out comes the Stormbringer, and he brings in the pain and suffering, and there's the first blood for Avant.
Why didn't nobody pop the ult before he hit those sweet spots, Skimmy? He would have healed so much. Paparazzi was just sitting in the middle of all that damage. Nobody obviously just looking for a shorter trade, not knowing that Paparazzi can go for that all-in. Second Maul comes up, ultimate going to be there, and the Armored Papton takes him down.
Certainly wasn't a bear plushie. That was an aggressive one. Maybe one that you find in the wild, ready to have a 1v1 with you. And in the end, they're going to be quite content with how that worked on now. A dragon picked up here by Gravitas, but a first blood achieved by Avant instead. And sort of returning to your point before about the Draven, as you can see, wants to just try and CS as much as he can, build up that passive, and get bonus gold.
But you do need to cash it in, Skimmy. That's the biggest thing, and I think we've seen this lane be 100% health, just bouncing waves between each other. First blood being picked up by that Volibear in the top lane. Puma going to start sweating pretty soon, I'm sure, about the fact that he has to deal with these couple of champions.
Yeah, he's going to want to cash that in, as you say, as the jungle interaction takes place here, and Predator's terrified based on the fact he does not have level 6 right now, so forced to flash away to the safety of his top turret as both mid laners were ready to roam and ready to provide some form of assistance, but that's not going to stop the action just yet, because now supports, they want to get in amongst the chaos, as it's going to be Appy first to the table, but fresh hot on his heels, and will reveal him with that Scryer's orb, so nothing should happen here as a result.
Okay, and we're going to get a lane swap out, Skimmy. And I haven't seen this maneuver since Split 1, to be perfectly honest, as a human just allows the cannon creep to go into the ether. What they're doing here is they're trying to get some form of positioning around Herald, but because they're a full level down on jungle, as well as a little bit of an item discrepancy in the mid lane. I think this is going to be a difficult objective to contest, even with superior numbers on the top side of Summoner's Rift, so we'll see how they go.
You can see how they're looking to try and facilitate this play right now. As we've seen time and time again, when you're playing a composition like this, you've got the sort of hybrid blend of two supports looking to empower a star player, which in this case will be the Draven. The tankiness natures of the Knight's Vow, Zeke's Convergence, and the rest of it that Fresh can itemize into, as well as the Ephemes and Ardent Sensor that the Calm will be going for as well. That might make it just a little bit easier for the Adoration to be cashed on in, and for him to win the lottery. We'll have to wait and see, as the 8-minute Herald will now spawn.
They're going to try and start this one pretty much on spawn as well, Skimmy. However, you can see Human is in base, so for a brief moment in time, there is going to be a temporary 3v3 on the top side. Obviously, Teleport coming back in will allow him to get back on map. But now, with mid lane shoved, there is just that opportunity to 4-man dive bot. You never want this to happen. At best, Prayless is going to lose all of his bottom camps. At worst, they're going to lose bot turret, as well as nobody's life. Let's see what Avant Gaming do here.
He's after it, and he's got double buff right now. It's just going to chuck out the smoke screen, and the response is Aatrox's ultimate. He's not messing around whatsoever and says, well, if you're not going to go for a gank, I'm at least going to try and deny you as much of these camps as possible. Smite goes out, that will deny. You can pick up the remnants.
And I wonder if they get first turret first here. As we take a look at the top lane, please, Mr. Observer. We've still got 5 plates up there. It looks like we're not going to be able to see it. I assume this is first turret going down for Avant Gaming, despite the fact there's 3 of them hitting there with turret plating still available, Skimmy. Surely not. They've taken so long. That must be top lane falling down.
Yeah, that's got a ton of armor in it right now at this early stage
so
of the
much
game.
armor.
The Herald will finally be summoned, so they must be sitting on 2 plates for the perfect execution, but it might be just pixel perfect with Avant edging out. Oh, it was close. Nope. It was a base race. We get 9 minutes in and we're talking about first turrets.
Yeah, I mean, really nicely done, to be honest, from Gravitas. They do get a lot of gold over onto Puma. Payless needed a gold injection as well to get back into the game. And nobody also did a good enough job of tickling or keeping the Avant Gaming lineup interested that they actually didn't sack all that many jungle camps either, Skimmy. So that was probably the best result that Gravitas could have hoped for. At the same time, mid lane has just been isolated, and as is wont to do at the moment, Chaz is just creating himself a little bit of a CS lead. About 20 at this stage of the game, and just showing why he's considered one of the better mid laners in the comp at the moment.
Got a question for you. So I'm not the biggest Draven connoisseur, right? But I'm aware that there are a couple of builds to make sure that you do that absurd, disgusting damage. Obviously, we've got Press the Attack here today, but I've seen people run Halo Blades as well. Which one do you prefer, given the state of how things have gone? Obviously, Hella Blade's probably not going to find as much value. It's not being aggressive. Might have to hold that fort for 2 seconds here as they go roaming into the jungle and spot out Beats, who will flash away, but it's only to make the explosion that much easier to connect with, and they'll find another kill.
Yeah, I mean, flashing in a straight line. I talk about it all the time, but against skill shot champion Skimmy, you have to flash sideways, otherwise you're just going to get hit with everything. Yeah, I really like Hella Blade's Draven. I'm also a big fan of like first item Ghost Blade Draven when that used to be a thing. Nowadays you do play like more Lifesteal tank. Press the attack is such a weird rune to me because in what scenario are you getting 3 standard auto attacks off in a lane like this? I just don't think any really exist. You're relying on Beats to hit so many sick hooks if that's the case. So I'm not a huge fan of PTA. Conqueror got nerfed, and that's why they're obviously not running Conqueror. For the last patch, they would definitely run Conqueror on the old Draven. But yeah, I'm a fan of Halo Blade. I do agree with you. I actually think aggressive champion should be played with aggressive rune sets.
I'll be curious to see if he reaches that threshold where he gets the empowerment with the attack speed boost to make sure that the press the attack can find the full value, because as you can see, he's also got to play the little mini game of catching those X's as well.
And he's sitting on a lot of adoration. It looks like he's like nearly at 300 adoration stacks already, which means that they really need to find him a kill. You know, can he get down into this bottom lane and chase out the Orianna and look for a kill, even if it means they have to sack top lane turret? Like, what can they actually do to get this guy online? Because 1 kill for a Draven, it can just open up the game. But at this stage, if he dies in a team fight, you would say that's nearly GG for Pentanet. You know, 2,000 gold, Pentanet, Gravitas, 2,000 gold down. They're in a lot of hurt.
It's like a Cole gone crazy, you know, you're just stacking up instantly. An instant injection of gold as we now see action once again on the top side of the map. And Big Paprise does not mess around with that. Out comes the Stormbringer. This time he flashes on out of that one. And he will get the kill secure. Prellis connects and Prellis secures as they turn the tide of this fight. And they will make it a 5v4.
Yeah, really well done there. Actually, great read of the map from Prellis to end up in kind of the most 50-50 matchup, I guess, that is still up and available. Nobody's Aatrox has actually looked fairly good against Papyrus. Sure, it did get solo killed, but it did have those also where it had push or priority. And I think Nobody filling in very, very nicely on this lineup. Obviously, really excited to have his second chance in the OPL and doing a great job. Skimmy, I said before that there was a 20 CS lead in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Well, since then, Suman has got 20 CS and has got 40 CS. Another 20 CS. Like, you know, he's 40 CS up now.
Hey, he's a monster.
That's craziness.
Certainly is.
Literally doubled it.
No doubt he's going to be saying, please, can we just get this win here today? I don't want to die. I want to hit that big break point. I want to win.
Reminder.
I've had enough. Shockwave will connect. I will go for the 1v5 play.
Do you reckon he'll die? Or do you reckon he's going to go through not dying?
Prediction. I'm going to say he's not going to die. Just because I like looking at pressure. Because look, what I feel like is going to happen here, Spawn, now believe me on this conspiracy. You got the Dark Seal, you're feeling good about your life. As soon as he buys Magi's, his odds of dying go up by 50% at least. The pressure. You've got to secure those kills.
I reckon that this game might be a one-team fight game. We don't have many of those in the OPL anymore, but, you know, the way it's setting up, I think that if you're Gravitas at the moment, I nearly said Pentanet again. If you're Gravitas at the moment, you just look to see this air Drake, like, who cares? It's air. Then, you know, 6 minutes time, Baron spawns, someone feels like they have to hit it for some reason, you get one team fight. Whoever wins that team fight is probably going to win the game. So if that's the case, if it is a one-team fight game, and you're this far ahead on Orianna, surely you just win. Surely there's nothing that the Gravitas lineup can do about that.
It was a bit of a weakness we saw when they tried to play this composition beforehand, right? They were so reliant on Puma making his mark and looking to try and take over this game, much like we've seen Aphelios do in patches of past as well, but based on the amount of threats he's got to try and deal with, the amount of CC he's got to try and contend and juggle onto, it's a lot of pressure for him to have to match, and well, that's going to be Appy flashing on forward, connects with the hook, says hello, looking to try and find the execute, and they will. There goes the adoration. And that could be a bit of a disaster right now, as it's going to be Appy that picks up that kill, goes golden, and can quickly and swiftly disengage away. And yeah, well, Spawn, that is the 5-man collapse in the mid lane, a minute out from the next dragon.
And he threw his stand aside backwards. You hate to see it, Skimmy. He would have probably been safe if that hits. And he cancels that depth charge, but you know what? It is what it is. He falls down. and that is going to be all the adoration gone, as you mentioned. You lose about half of it. And that means this Draven is now in a shocking spot, Skimmy. He needs a miracle to happen in this game, I think.
Yep, there's going to be a big catch-up mechanic to try and buffer the 15 CS he's down right now, as Prelus looks to try and make a Hail Mary attempt diving into the Herald Pit itself, trying to snipe out Gunkrab, but drops him down to half instead. Avant will pick up that Herald, and they can disengage quite swiftly now, but it is going to be Prelus once again, looking to try and chase them through. Has a ton of on-hit burst and demand to try and meet his mark, but nobody on the flash and the flank too. Bit chaotic.
Really well done from Prelus, though, because he's kind of stopped 2 bases, and that might mean that they get themselves a cheeky dragon against the flow of play here. You can see burns the flash out of Chaz, also got the heal out of Gunkrab. So the jungler of Gravitas still trying his best to make things work here, Skimmy. It is going to be the air dragon picked up, so 1 more away from Soul Point. Definitely not the dragon you would want if you are Gravitas, but better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. And game's still on.
Game certainly is, and we're going to get to see exactly how they try and bounce back from this one, because from their last 5 games, Gravitas have never ever got the first Baron. From the last 10 games, they've only got it once. So the odds of them looking to try and make one of those Hail Mary attempts of either stealing it or making a proactive play for it don't look too pretty from a statistical standpoint, and you've already highlighted the impact that Chaz has with this insane lead. He's got that Archangel stacked up now, so he's got a ton of mitigation and can afford to try and find those aggressive shockwave plays.
And Puma used the ultimate there, Skimmy, to try and save out this turret. You can see as soon as that one falls down, they just have free access to, once again, go into the jungle area. I think he's going to miss.
Both supports flexing their might, looking who can be the better engaged. That's a wombo combo onto free. That is disgusting, and that is downright dirty. That's going to mean that Gunkrab picks up a triple as easy as can be. Appy just walks straight to their bank and says, I've baited and outsmarted every single one of you. That is an ace. That is flawless in its execution. Not a single death here for Avant.
And Avant just making it look so easy at this stage of the game. Great shockwave onto the 2 crucial members. Appy puts on the dancing shoes and makes sure he dodges out of everything. That actually might be the base broken, Skimmy, just given the fact that Shelly is still hanging about. You can see Lisa wanted it. The rest of the players just want the tempo. So they'll just take the charge instead. But now a huge gold lead here for our red side.
We're talking about how much of a miracle Puma needed to try and catch up here for Gunkrab. Well, he's made that gap that much bigger as a result. It's gone from a gap to essentially 2 mountains split apart. It's very tough. An uphill battle he'll be facing, but a full item disadvantage now that the Aphelios has hit his 2-item power spike.
And I don't know what they can do, Skimmy. I'm just sitting here.
I was contemplating the same thought.
I'm trying to sit there and I'm like, okay, at this stage of the game, 18 minutes in, you got 2 dragons. You know, how do we talk about them winning the game? But the problem is that Power's just all in the wrong spot. Puma, who has been a little bit better in independent roles, needs to be the focal member. You know, when he was playing things like the Vayne, when he was playing things like Aphelios, just hoovering up farm and, you know, late game insurance policy, I think that's when they're at their best. I like when Human is on the proactive member.
Yep.
And, you know, playing it with Prayless, and they chase people around Summoner's Rift like they were doing Order in week 1, and they just try and kill everyone. But this time around, Skimmy, I think the pieces are just in the wrong area, and no one has a gold lead. So it is so hard to think about how you win this game, and Appy just wants nobody.
He's going to be surrounded from every angle he turns to right now. Going to buy as much time as he can. That's actually enough to make sure that Echo can jump in and jump out with his ultimate and snag a kill for himself as a result. An important one, as they do take Gunkrab out of the equation.
You need to not overreach here because they still have all the ultimates available.
That's a beautiful max range, because that's going to be Beach jumping into the fray of things. Kind of a bit of an end, quite honestly, given the nature of the team not wanting to follow up that one. They look pretty and a bit trigger happy.
And I think the idea is there, right? Gravitas know that if they just keep not fighting, they're going to eventually lose this game. But at the same time, Skimmy, you have to fight with some form of vision, some form of control. You can't just dive Wantum into the enemy team. That's exactly what Beats did there on that occasion. And Paparazzi didn't even opt to turn the turret off. They still had Chaz's ult. They still had Gunkrab. Gunkrab was actually in the death roll, beg your pardon. So they still had the Orianna ult, but they just didn't opt to use it. Instead, they take the 1 kill, they back away, they take the turret. And now it's an 8,000 gold lead.
Certainly is, and you can see that this man on your screen here, Prayless, doing whatever he can to try and find one target and trying to remove them from the board straight away. If that's enough to try and edge out any kind of advantage to give them a numbers situation, they could try and buffer this goal discrepancy that is between these two. Chaz, at this stage of the game, is a monster. He's a machine. He's hitting for true damage given the penetration he has online right now. So if you don't have any MR, then you are in a whole world of pain. 10 stacks, and now it comes to Magi's as well. Risky business. Will we see him die here today?
Is it risky business? If you haven't died in 2 games, and you're 21 minutes through your next game, and you still haven't died, I think it's fairly good odds that you're not going to die, and that this is a fairly safe purchase.
I wanted to try and tee it up like a good horror film. You know, would there be a jump scare? Would there be one of those suspenseful moments?
There we go, jump scare for nobody.
It certainly is. He runs into his jungle and says, "Why on earth is there a matching level jungler looking to 1v1 me?" That's a flash for a flash, and Appy just does not miss those. How impressive has this Nautilus been here today?
He is just so decisive, Skimmy. Shockwave going to come out. Human in trouble.
Nearly 100 to 0 Zoom in there with the Shockwave, but all that magic resistance provides so much mitigation to that, but that will be enough. That forces Gravitas away from their base defense. That's going to open up the mid inhibitor to fall on down.
And you have to say job done from the Shockwave, right? You get rid of all of the wave clear, and you just continue to chip away at this base. What's the last win condition left available for Gravitas? Well, it's probably going to be a soul, Skimmy. So they just say, you know what, we'll take that one off the board as well. Lisa going to grab it. Tempo resets coming off from everyone else in the Avant Gaming lineup, and a return to 4th for the boys in blue, looking much more comfortable this time around.
They certainly are, as they will pick up the second dragon for themselves here. More movement speed, more cooldown reduction, why not at this stage of the game? Because they are finding great success whenever they are able to use that one. That's going to make it a little bit easier for them to fling those out to guarantee the likes of a kill, a pick, or even a turret denial.
A little bit of an interesting Grom tank there. Normally you'd leave that for your top laner as you're coming out a little bit tempo ruined for Chaz. However, Gunkrab going to back with him, and that is going to be the completed Sinful Book. Just gets himself a Morellonomicon. How much healing have we got? We've got a lot of healing. That is a good Morellonomicon purchase. I take it back. No
It's
sinning
exceptional. Pretty much everybody across the board that he'll be looking to try and take down will have some form of healing or sustain, so that's going to really shut that one down quite early on. A bit of a flame horizon taking place between his top laner, so he's saying, that's mine, thank you very much. He's been hoovering up the CS like nobody's business.
Yeah, he's just he's 20 CS above the clock. You can see that Prayless looking for him, wants to be able to get something. I think he was spotted out there, and the rest of the team just hovering. And you can see nobody looking for the group, due to the fact that, actually, I don't know why he's looking to group, and that it is actually Human trying to deal with this volley bear. Potentially because of the armor that Papyrus has, that you would want the Karma in the group, I would suspect, Skimmy.
Well, based on this itemization, that's the first thing that stands out like a sore fun. You're a support Karma. Why am I going into a Bramblefish Trinity Force volley bear? He could probably solo me. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could follow him at this stage of the game. That's going to be another turret falling down. It looks like Baron is just well and truly on the card. If not overdue, Skimmy. I feel like it's lived for 4 minutes longer than it should have. Baron should be an extinct creature in this game. Just let him come in.
It will fall on down, as that's what they're going to turn to now. But will there be a contest from Gravitas based on current positioning? It's not looking to be the case, but Suman will have that teleport available. Looking to push that one final wave before he decides to pull the plug, and whether or not he wants to try and commit to this one. Baron continues to fall faster and faster, getting ever closer to smite range. That's not going to be a contest.
TP.
That's an easy acquisition. Goes to Draven, and those axes will say it's gone.
And just going through the motion right now is Gravitas. This team looks like they are just confused when they're playing League of Legends. They're going to be dead last in the OPL after this game. Mammoth obviously picking up a huge win over Legacy, and you can see just Avant playing 2 lanes, being very, very safe, very calm. They're going to allow this creep wave to stack up, Skimmy. Try and bring the mid lane wave in at the same time, and just lay waste to the base. Teleport coming in. This is a fight. How you feel?
Certainly feels like that one right now, as Beats is now fishing once again for a hook target. Just going to flash forward and land that play. Paolo converges, goes him down, no stun connects, but it's still going to be Prayless looking to try and execute somebody. He will find it eventually. He takes down Aphelios. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Nobody gone for the Aphelios. Fresh taken out of the equation eventually as Chaz connects. The man's got stacks and the guy has damage. That's going to be another inhibitor that falls on down. As mid lane is no doubt soon to respawn, but that might not be enough for them to try and bank on right now, because with these Baron-inspired minions, they can make one final play to end this game in its sights. Nexus turrets into play. Appy once again connects. And here's the Shockwave, which 100 to 0's the jungler. He's gone. Good night, sweet dreams. Avant are looking to end this game, but Puma doing whatever he can, saying, I've got double supports. Can I try and hold onto this base? Apparently you can't. Yeah, no. Goes out, and he's gone. That is a delete. That's a 25-minute victory here for Avant.
No Chaz.
Plain as can be. Chaz won't die. Out go the taunts, out go the flares. And GG.
Oh, I was so nervous for Chaz there at the end, Skimmy. Not because of the game, but just because of the KDA. But he does it. He comes out of that game unscathed. He will continue the deathless streak on the Orianna, and Avant Gaming as a whole playing very well around their mid laner. And that was a shellacking, Skimmy. That was not even close. Gravitas just got ran over.
Certainly did. A composition which had an idea but was unable to execute on the mark that it was designed to achieve. You know, we talk about this Draven being this really interesting pick, and I continue to enjoy Puma showcasing that he's not afraid to try new things, maybe try and drum up some new ideas, but the success rate with them doesn't always meet the mark.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because you understand the need to have variety in your play if you aren't finding much success. But I feel like at times you just have to try and battle your way through it. I feel like they're looking for an answer in pick ban where there probably isn't one at the moment, Skimmy. And they need to get back to basics, just what they were doing well, the double assassin comps. Hopefully next patch with the return of Fizz and Zed breathes new life into this team.
A new patch, a new meta, and one that can look to try and flourish their roster of talent. We're going to jump to a quick break and return back for what will be the final game to open up tonight. Will it be Order taking on Chiefs? It's a big one. You don't want to miss it.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe, and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
It's got it! This is deadly! It's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe, and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.